Welcome, traveler of the quiet night. You've found your way to the Sleepy Science Channel, a calm little corner of wonder and rest. Tonight, we'll drift gently through the hidden miracles of our world, the ones that live beneath our feet and beyond what our eyes can see. Wherever you are, tucked under the covers, or maybe watching the stars from your window, let this be your moment to pause. Let every sound soften. Let your thoughts slow down, like ripples fading across a still pond. Because tonight, we're staying right here, on the living, breathing planet we call home. Imagine a small jellyfish floating in the gentle darkness of the ocean. It's smaller than your fingertip, clear as glass, and glowing faintly with its own light. For most creatures, time moves one way, forward. We grow, we age, and eventually, we rest. But this jellyfish doesn't follow that rule. When it reaches the end of its life, something extraordinary happens. Instead of dying, it begins again. Its body folds in on itself, its cells reshaping and returning to youth, as if pressing rewind on the movie of its life. It becomes young once more, a tiny polyp at the start of the cycle, and then it grows again, drifting through the same waters, alive in a loop that could, in theory, go on forever. Scientists sometimes call it immortal, but it's not magic, it's adaptation. A clever trick that rewrites what it means to age. This tiny jellyfish reminds us that life is not just about beginnings and endings. Sometimes it's about the beautiful ways nature bends the rules and the quiet mysteries we're still learning to understand.
The tardigrade, the sleeping wonder. Now picture something even smaller. A creature so tiny you'd need a microscope to see it. It's round, a little squishy, and moves with slow, patient steps. It's called a tardigrade, though some people affectionately call it the water bear. The tardigrade is one of Earth's toughest survivors. It's been around for hundreds of millions of years, living quietly in moss, soil, and ocean floors. What makes it special isn't its look, it's what it can do when the world around it turns harsh. When drought strikes, or when freezing cold or boiling heat threatens its life, the tardigrade doesn't fight. It pauses. It dries out completely, curling into a tiny ball, its body going silent. No movement, no heartbeat, just stillness. In that form, it can wait for years, even decades, until the world softens again. When water returns, the tardigrade wakes, stretches, and carries on as though nothing happened. Scientists have sent them into space, exposed them to radiation, vacuum, and cold beyond imagining, and still they come back to life. It's a reminder that even the smallest creatures hold enormous strength, that survival sometimes means not pushing forward, but knowing when to rest, to trust that the right moment will return.
The light beneath the waves, Let's drift now through deeper water, where sunlight fades and shadows begin to glow. Here, the ocean becomes a galaxy of living light. Fish, jellies, and plankton shimmer with blues and greens, casting soft halos through the dark. This glow, called bioluminescence, is one of nature's most stunning tricks. It isn't reflected sunlight. It's created from within. Tiny chemical reactions inside living cells release a gentle light, like sparks caught in water. For some, it's a way to communicate. For others, a lure. To attract, to confuse, to survive. When waves break near certain shores, each drop of water glows as it crashes, as if the sea itself were breathing light. If you've ever seen that glow in person, you know it doesn't feel real. It feels like the earth is dreaming. A reminder that even in darkness, life finds a way to shine.
The whispering forest. Now the ocean light fades behind us, and we find ourselves back on land in the deep calm of a nighttime forest. At first, it feels still, but if you could listen beneath the soil, you'd hear a soft, steady conversation taking place. Every tree is part of a hidden network, tiny threads of fungi connecting roots across the ground. Through these threads, trees share water, nutrients, and messages. It's a living web that scientists sometimes call the wood wide web. When one tree gets too much sunlight, it can send some of that energy to its neighbors through these connections. When another tree is under stress, maybe attacked by insects or short on water, signals move through the roots, warning nearby trees to strengthen their defenses. The forest isn't just a group of trees. It's a family, an ancient, breathing network built on quiet cooperation. If you've ever walked through the woods and felt that deep sense of calm, you might be feeling that hidden harmony, the pulse of the forest beneath your feet, whispering in its slow, steady rhythm.
Seeds and the promise of rest. Now imagine the surface of the earth again. A quiet meadow, touched by the wind. Beneath the soil, a tiny seed lies waiting. To the eye, it seems lifeless, just a small, dry shell in the dirt. But inside, it holds everything it needs, the blueprint for roots, leaves, and the life to come. Seasons pass. Rain falls, snow covers the ground, and still the seed waits. It sleeps through cold and drought and time itself, knowing that its moment will come. When warmth returns and the soil softens, the seed begins to stir. It takes in moisture,
swells and slowly cracks open. A small root reaches downward, anchoring deep into the earth, while a green shoot rises toward the light. That single act of pushing upward is one of the most powerful things on our planet. It's the quiet strength of life itself, reminding us that even after long stillness, growth always finds its way back. We are not so different from seeds. We wait through our winters, we rest, and when the time feels right, we rise again, a little stronger, a little wiser, ready for light. The underground architects. These networks don't only help trees. They connect to ferns, moss, even wildflowers. And the fungi themselves, the hidden architects, thrive by forming friendships with roots, trading minerals from the soil for sugars made by leaves above. Together, they create balance. A tree cannot stand tall without what's beneath it. The unseen world keeps the visible one alive. When a tree falls, its wood becomes food for countless other forms of life. Insects, mushrooms, bacteria. Even in death, it gives back to the forest. The ground we walk on isn't silent. It's layered with memory. Roots of the old feeding the new. A constant cycle of connection and renewal.
The deep ocean mysteries. Now let's leave the forest behind and travel once more into the water. But this time we're diving far deeper. Down where no sunlight reaches, the ocean turns to night. The water grows heavy, and the world grows quiet. Here, life takes on strange and beautiful forms. Some creatures are transparent, their bodies clear as glass. Others shimmer faintly, like lanterns drifting through endless black. The pressure here could crush steel. But these creatures float and feed and glow as if the weight of the world means nothing. They live on what little the ocean gives, nutrients drifting down from above, or the warmth of volcanic vents rising from the seafloor. Some live in places where no sunlight has ever touched, and yet they thrive, proof that life can bloom even in the harshest dark. Imagine yourself there for a moment, floating, still, surrounded by endless quiet. The sound of your own heartbeat becomes the only rhythm. You're part of something vast, something ancient and untamed. The deep ocean holds more mysteries than we've ever explored. Creatures we've never seen. Ecosystems that rewrite what we think life can be. It's a world that humbles us, reminding us how much there is left to learn, and how wonder continues far beyond what we can see.
The endless rhythm of life. Every living thing on this planet, from the tiniest tardigrade to the tallest tree, shares one simple rhythm: to endure, to adapt, to continue. The jellyfish rewinds time to begin again. The tardigrade sleeps through chaos. The forest shares its strength underground. The deep ocean glows where no sun has ever shone. And the seed waits in silence, ready for rebirth. This is the quiet genius of Earth, not loud or sudden, but patient and constant. Even when we're not watching, life keeps moving forward. Every corner of this planet tells the same story in its own way, that change is natural, rest is necessary, and renewal is always possible. So when you feel tired, when the world seems too fast or too loud, remember this rhythm. The same calm pulse that moves through oceans and roots and seeds moves through you too.
Closing reflection. And now our journey comes to rest. We've traveled from glowing seas to whispering forests, from the deep, dark ocean to the smallest spark of new life. We've seen how nature bends and begins again, how it glows in darkness, how it listens, how it waits. The world doesn't need to shout to be extraordinary. It breathes quietly, carrying endless stories in its silence. As you lie here now, let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts drift like gentle waves. The same calm that fills the forest and the sea fills this moment too. You are part of this story, this living earth, this rhythm of rest and renewal. The jellyfish, the forest, the seed, they all speak the same truth, that life in all its forms is patient, strong, and full of wonder. So close your eyes, let the day fade, let the quiet world hold you. Good night, traveler, and may the wonders of life on earth watch over your dreams.
The Northern Lights. Far above the Arctic Circle, night skies open like vast curtains of dark blue and silver. And every so often, the Northern Lights appear. They don't arrive with noise or fanfare. They slip in gently, as if the sky is remembering a secret. The colors rise in soft waves, greens folding into violets, pink edges appearing where the curves twist. They drift, stretch, and sway as though the heavens are quietly breathing. These lights begin with particles traveling from the sun far across space. When they finally reach Earth, they touch the air high above us. And that touch, so small you could never feel it, becomes color. People standing below often fall silent without even meaning to. There's something comforting about watching light move like water, slow and drifting, reminding us that even the sky has graceful moments meant for stillness. And that's the beauty of the Northern Lights. They turn something enormous into something peaceful.
The slow journey of sand dunes. Now imagine a desert, warm and wide, stretching farther than your eyes can follow. At first glance, the dunes seem frozen in place, tall, smooth, untouched. But dunes are wanderers. They move. Not fast, not in a way you could watch hour to hour, but over long stretches of time. A gust of wind lifts a few grains, then a few more. Those grains land on the far side of a dune, stacking up, shifting the entire shape just a little. Thousands of days pass, and the dune has traveled yards, then miles. A slow walk across the earth. Some dunes have been on the move for centuries, some for far longer. They leave behind gentle ripples, tiny patterns written by wind, erased by wind, and written again. It's a quiet reminder that change doesn't always arrive in sudden bursts. Sometimes it comes in small steps, repeated patiently over time, until one day something new has formed from the softest forces.
The whale that never stops singing. Now we sink beneath the surface of the ocean, into deep blue quiet. Down here, the world moves at a different pace. And somewhere in the distance, a long, low song begins. Some whales sing in patterns that carry for hundreds of miles. Their voices travel farther than any animal on Earth. One whale in particular has sung a song that doesn't match any other. It rings out at a slightly different pitch, drifting alone through the ocean's wide halls. People sometimes imagine that this whale must be lonely. But perhaps its world is simply different. A traveler sending out a melody into a dark, calm sea, exploring in its own way. Whale songs echo through underwater canyons and along coastlines. Each one rises like a deep, soothing hum, moving through the water as though the ocean itself is singing. It's a sound that reminds us that the world beneath the waves is alive, with mysteries we rarely hear, but are always happening. The rain that falls from clear skies. In certain places, rain can appear even when the sky looks empty of clouds. People look up, puzzled, seeing sunlight filter down through droplets that seem to fall out of nowhere. This phantom rain begins high above, when droplets form in thin air that doesn't look heavy enough to hold water. As they fall, the dry air below drinks them in before they ever touch the ground. Sometimes only a few drops make it far enough to be felt, little surprises that land on warm skin or dusty earth. Travelers in quiet deserts say the scent arrives before the rain does, that sharp, earthy smell that lifts from dry soil the moment moisture brushes across it. Even when the rain vanishes before reaching the ground, its presence is real enough to feel. A passing moment, a brief reminder that the atmosphere is always moving, always shifting, even when the sky seems still.
The life
of a raindrop. Every raindrop has a story that began long before it touched a leaf or a roof or a river. Maybe it started as part of an ocean wave, lifted into the air by warmth. Or maybe it rested inside a cloud for days, swirling in chilly winds, waiting for the perfect moment to fall. After it lands, its path continues. It may slide along a window, run down a tree trunk, sink into soil, or drift toward a stream that carries it onward. Some drops fall into lakes where they rest for years. Others slip underground into hidden aquifers, traveling through stone corridors. And eventually warmth will call them upward again, returning them to the air, where their journey begins once more. A drop of water might repeat this cycle thousands of times over centuries. It might have touched glaciers, jungles, deserts, and oceans, all silently, all without hurry. Water never stops moving. It simply changes its shape along the way.
The firefly's lantern. On summer nights in quiet fields, tiny lights blink among the tall grass. Fireflies rise into the warm air, carrying lanterns no bigger than a grain of rice. Each light flashes in a pattern, slow, steady, or quick. These patterns are like small messages sent through the dusk. Some fireflies drift upward as they glow, leaving little trails of gold in the air. Others hover low, blinking softly near the ground. What makes their light is a natural reaction inside their bodies, gentle enough to touch the darkness without breaking it. In some forests around the world, whole groups of fireflies flash at the same time, creating waves of light that move through the trees like breathing. Their lamps remind us that even the smallest creatures know how to make the night beautiful.
The sleep of mountains. Mountains seem eternal, tall, unmoving, solid as the world itself. But mountains have their own slow rhythms, rising, settling, and wearing down over ages. Some are pushed upward by deep forces beneath the earth. Others are carved away by wind, rain, and time. From a human perspective, mountains don't seem to move at all. But over millions of years, they shift like giant sleepers turning in their rest. A peak that towers today may become a gentle hill in ages to come. A ridge flattened by ancient winds may someday lift again as the earth reshapes itself. Their stillness is only an illusion of time. Beneath the calm, they are always changing, quietly reflecting the patient heartbeat of the planet.
The quiet architects, coral reefs. Now we travel to warm, clear waters, where coral reefs rest like underwater cities. Coral may look like rock, but it's made by countless tiny creatures building their homes bit by bit. With every day, every tide, every season,
These small beings shape the curves and towers of their reef. Fish weave through corridors of color. Sea turtles drift past slow-moving shadows. Even the light seems different here, softened by water and coral shapes that break it into shifting patterns. Over centuries, reefs grow into enormous structures, some large enough to be seen from far above the ocean. They are reminders of what can be built through steady work and quiet persistence, tiny actions layered over time.
Closing reflection. As our journey winds down, think of all the gentle forces we visited tonight. Drifting lights in the sky, dunes walking across deserts, whales singing in wide oceans,